Welcome all. Boone here from EWPRO. I still do have a croaky throat, so you will have to bear with me. But we'll get onto this weekly outlook, starting with the DXY on the daily time frame. Like I've mentioned many times, I don't believe that this is the low. I'm not convinced this is the low. So we still can get more downside here down to this 100 fib. On the H4, it's starting to look a little bit more bearish in here. But if you remember, we were looking for this down in here and this up in here for a flat here. And then we have gone and broken the low here. We sort of had an impulse up in here. So we may just get 3 down in here. Or it continues down further. If we go down to the lower time frame, we can see that this is looking rather bearish in here. We do have like 3 up in here. So I would like to see at least an A, B, C in here. And then we'll decide if we get a buy set up, we could look for a buy. Other than that, I'd be looking for a sell setup, at least for a C down. And like I said, we may get even more downside coming down and breaking this low over here. So have to play it by ear at this stage. It's a little bit early to see what's going on there on the lower time frames. AU still could get a little bit more upside here up to that 100 fib. On the lower time frames, we do well on the even on the H1, we have that A, B, and a C up. So is that the top, or will we come down and break the low? Well, that is pretty hard to decide. But at this stage, I'm looking for a C up here on the H1. Looking for this, we got an impulse here, so I'm looking for at least 3 up in here. And then again, if we get a sell set up after 3 up, well, then we could look for at least 3 down. Other than that, you pretty much be looking for a buy here. And of course, if it goes, it goes. Yeah, not much to really trade on at the moment. That's the problem. It's pretty much all across all of them at this particular time. There's not much to do. GU, we're looking for that C up. We did get that C up here. Really looking at the lower time frames to see if this is the top. And we come down and break the low here now. We had these 3 up in here. Now we've got an impulse down. So I'm looking for a correction in here before we get a C down in here. At this stage, we only have one wave up here. We have one wave up here. It didn't go up and break that top there, and we have a bear hidden here. So I'd be looking for a sell for at least 3 down in here. And ideally, it does go down and break the low, and we get like an A, B, C here. EU on the daily, we did get that A, B, C. That C wave did come right up to that 100 fib, so that's fine. Looking for a sell, like many of the others. It's a little bit difficult, EU, at this particular stage because we already have 3 down in here. So again, this could go either way. We could get another one up in here, or it could even go up and break that top. But yeah, I would be more interested in a sell since we're up around this 100 fib here. I'd be more interested in a sell. So yeah, but really there isn't a sell set up on it. That's the problem. Got to be very careful here. We have three down here. Um, I would have liked to seen this go and break that low, and then I could have started looking for buys. But we don't have any bullish divergence here, so it makes it very difficult. We don't have a bear hidden either. So yeah, it's going to be very difficult. I'd be more interested in a sell, but there simply isn't a sell on it. If anything, it's a buy. Like on the lower time frames, we got three down in here. Then we got a higher high here between this high and this high. So, it makes it very difficult. This could just give a correction in here and another one up, and this becomes a larger correction before we get downside. But either way, I'd be more interested in looking for the sell than the buy up at these highs. NU, looking for a C up still. Until this low here is broken, I'll be still looking for a C up. And all this is a correction. Really not much on the H4, and the H1 is very difficult as well. This looks more corrective to me than bullish. So, I'd be more interested in a sell. It is setting up for a sell on the lower time frame, so I'd be looking at the M15, and I'd be looking for, like, from the top we got a nice impulse down, breaking this low here. We got getting it's a rather deep correction, so I'd just be looking for a C down in here, and then possibly more upside after we get three down. GY on the daily. I mean, we already have bearish divergence even on the daily here. I would really like to see this come down, but in saying that, it still can get up to this 100 fib. H4, nothing's changed. We got all this bearish divergence. I'm looking for 5 down here, as you can see. We got an impulse down, a 1, 2, 3. We can get a wave 4 in here and then a wave 5 down, and that's what I'd be looking for. I'd be looking for a sell after we get 3 up here. At this stage, we just have 1 up. So I'd be looking for a correction a similar size to this over here, and then look for another one down. UY, I'm pretty much staying out of this. Unless you're scalping, that's about all you can do on this. Whatever's happening in here, it looks very corrective to fall over. So I'd be more interested in a sell. But in saying that, it's not giving us the sells. We did have a buy in here. We did have like 3 up in here. Didn't quite get to the 100 fib. Then we had this impulse down. So if we get a sell set up in here, a correction and then a sell set up, I'd be looking for the sell. UCAT, sorry about that. UCAD, nothing's changed. Whatever's happening in here, I'm looking at it as corrective. Looking at like a W, X, Y, X2, and we get a Z down in here on the daily. And then possibly go up and break the top. Like I mentioned last week, I'll just zoom out a bit. Um, we got this time factor here. Looking for a wave 5 up, it's taking a very long time. Looking for that correction over here, similar size correction. So we still can get a wave Z down in here, just breaking this low, but not breaking this ending point of wave 2. If this ending point of wave 2 gets broken, well, we're definitely not going to get that wave 5 up. But yeah, I'll be more interested in a sell. There is no sell on even on the lower time frames at this stage. If you recall, quite a while back, I was looking for a wave Z up here. It come down and then it went. But either way, I'd still be looking for a sell. We got all this bearish divergence overall, so just waiting for a nice sell setup. Ideally, we get a lower low here and then a correction and a sell setup, and you could look for at least a C down. And ideally, it goes and breaks a low and gives us that wave Z down on the daily. But at this stage, like I mentioned, there really isn't nothing to trade on it. We have the bearish divergence, but we don't have, the price action impulse down and a correction and then a sell. We don't have that at this stage. Take that off. It was during the week. The Swissy, again, I'm not convinced that this is the low. We can get some sort of 1, 2, 3 up in here, some sort of a flat before we get more downside. We did get the 3, 3 here, 3 here. We got like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and it's come down and broken the low. But again, it's very choppy in here. It's very difficult. I mean, on the lower time frame, we did get 3 up in here. And then we've come down and broken that low. So if anything, I'd be looking for a sell. If I got a nice sell on it, you could look for a sell to go and break the low. As for the buy, there really isn't a buy on it at this stage. EG on the daily, we got the 5 up already. So I'm waiting for a larger correction. Really like a larger correction in here. Some sort of a larger flat or any sort of correction, and then I could look for another 5 up, like 5, 3, 5. At this stage, I'd be leaving it alone altogether. Unless you're just scalping it, that's pretty much all you can do. Yeah, there's really not much on it at all. WTI. Like I've been mentioning for a long time now, I really would like to see this low here broken for that A, B, C. Then I can start to look for buys for at least a C up here. To sell it is very difficult to sell. We're getting all these lower lows here, and we're getting all this bullish divergence, so it makes it very risky to sell. But if you could scalp it, wait for like we got an impulse down here, wait for a correction, and if you got a sell set up, you could look for at least 3 down in here, like A, B, C. I'd be very careful. I'm more interested in it. I hope this does go down, break that low, and then I'll start to look for buys. I'm more interested in buys, especially with all this bullish divergence, but I really hope it does go down and break the low first, this low over here, and then I can start to load up on the buys. Gold just keeps on going. There's no stopping it. H4, we were looking for 5 up here. We got it. Got that like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, we are getting the bearish divergence. So be very careful up the top here. We're right up the top. You know, there's really not much. I'd be more interested in a sell. I thought we may have been getting a sell. We had a nice impulse down from the top. And I was sort of looking for a correction in here. It didn't. It would become very deep, this correction. So it's more bullish than anything. You know, I'd be looking for like an A, a B, and a C down, and then, you know, more upside. But yeah, there's no sell set up on it even for this here. So, you know, this can even go and break the top in a B wave and give us a running flat. So, you know, we just got to see where this wave ends. And then if we get that C down and then a buy set up, well, then we can look for a buy. Other than that, there's really not much on it at all at this stage. Got to be very careful too, because we're right up the top of the market. Same with silver. I've been saying this for quite some time. You know, we had those 5 up larger correction, and we got another, like an A wave. So I need this B wave, and then I can trade a C wave up. The only other way is just to scalp the buys. But we have 5 up in here. There's no bearish divergence in this wave 5. So I'd be looking for a larger correction here. And then another 5 up, like 5, 3, 5. But until I got this correction, I'm pretty much staying out of it, unless you're scalping on the lower time frames. Bitcoin's taken off. But we got the 5, the larger correction, and we got another 5 up in here as well on the lower time frame. I was looking for this C down in here, like this A, B, C. This C wave did come down and break the ending point of this wave A. It's clearly over, you know, this A, B, C, because we got a nice impulse here. So, you know, if you got a correction in here, I'd be looking for buys for like 5, 3, and another 5 up. So yeah, I'd be waiting for a correction in here on the lower time frames and a buy setup. S&P 500, right up the top of the market. There's really not much you can do here too. Really need a larger correction after this impulse. And then we could start to look for a buy. But yeah, at this stage, I'd be very careful buying. You know, we have all this bearish divergence here. It's just not giving us any sell setup, so. I mean, on the real lower time frames, we may have something here on the M15. But yeah, I mean, we have an impulse down. We have sort of 1, 2. If we get a third one up in here on the lower time frames, we get a correction in here on the lower time frames. Well, then you could look for at least 3 down, A, B, C, and if you're lucky, it really falls over for you, being right at the top of the market. But yeah, there's nothing really solid at this stage. You know, like I mentioned, we had that impulse down. So if we get 3 up in here, you know, and then a sell set up, I'd be looking for the sell. It's right down on the lower time frame. So yeah, I'm not going to go through the other indices. They're all very similar. Because I'm a little bit crook and got a croaky throat, I'll leave it for this week. So I hope you enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you out there next week.